Oh, hey peeps. Just with this one, I know it looks a bit different. It's just because in the office I've got stuff everywhere at the moment because I'm doing some filming for a program that I'm doing, and that's all out there. So all my lighting stuff's out there. So I turned it so that I can get a light in so that this looks somewhat lit up and you can actually see me. But what we're looking at today is world issues in here. So I'll read this to you and follow along. If you've got a pen and paper, grab that. Sometimes we become passionate about world issues and want to do something about them. Think about particular world issues you are interested in, supporting, or those in which you'd like to make a difference. Could be anything from the lack of healthy food options to bullying, human rights, violence, destruction of nature, or unequal access to opportunities. Can you think of others? Sure you can. So anything could be ocean pollution. That's a big one. Could be general, like pollution in the air, climate change, if you're that way inclined. Poverty could be a big one. One for me would be making sure that people have practical skills to keep them physically safe, and things like abuse and violence diminish or move towards zero. That's a goal of mine, and I know that's a global issue. So that's something that I work on. It's part of this business. Animal rights, yeah. So these are some of these things. So just if you write these down and then just answer. The answers for this will be: you don't care, you care somewhat, you care a lot. Those three. All right. So animal rights: don't care, care somewhat, care deeply. I'd be like in the middle, care somewhat, care a little bit. Bullying, I'm a bit mixed on this because I see that there's actually enormous benefits that can come from it. So I'm not completely opposed to it. I'm not advocating go and do it. But if you look at the situations it creates for people as an opportunity to grow, there can be some real positives that come from it. It's sort of like in the same way that you would look at bushfires and say that they're really bad. But if you go to the area that a bushfire's gone through the next spring after, it's phenomenal. There's so much life, there's so much vibrancy. And that's not always going to happen in the case of bullying, and some people don't know how to manage those things. But there's enormous opportunity for people to become a lot stronger through that. So I think emotional awareness is one that I'm more passionate about, but bullying itself, global hunger, malnutrition, I don't know enough about it, so I'd be in the middle or a little less. Crime and violence, I care about that. Pollution, don't care. Climate change, don't care. Poverty, definitely care. Human rights, care deeply for sure. I think they're really important, and none of that's right or wrong. It's just what your sort of preference is as a person, because people are just going to have different ones, and it's not like for me, I just don't care about climate change, and that doesn't mean it's bad that someone else really cares about it. It's like, cool, that's something that they really like. It's sort of like just having a preference for ice cream. Some people like vanilla, some people like strawberry, some people like chocolate. It doesn't mean that the person who likes choc chip is horrible because they don't like vanilla, right? They're just different. That's all it is. And that's sort of the same sort of thing with these. Are there any other causes you care deeply about and want to make a difference? One for me would be educating people about finances and money. I think that's incredibly important, and proper education in that area would solve the vast majority of problems in the world. I believe if everyone understood how money works and the ways to use it, I think a lot of problems in the world wouldn't exist. So that's something that I really care about. But attached to that is emotions and understanding emotions and how to work through them, and just actually having techniques to deal with it. Because if you're a kid and you're at school and you're around right now, if you're watching this and it's live or you watch it shortly after this is aired, you're probably in lockdown. You probably or have been through it. and it's a very tough time emotionally to go through. You would see your parents or your friends parents, or if you're a parent, other parents struggling, maybe your partner, maybe your friends really struggling emotionally with this. And it's a very taxing thing to have so much change. And I think the worst thing is not knowing what's going to happen next week. Like, are we going to be locked down next week? Are we going to be locked down next month? Are we going to be locked down for the next year? What's going to happen for food? What's going to happen for income? What's going to happen, like, to my kids? Like, there's a lot of worries that come with that. But when you're in that state and you're really worried and you can get really emotional, you can make some very poor decisions, and you'll see a lot of people making not great decisions. Like, if they think the world's ending and they go and buy tons of toilet paper, it's just not a great decision. A lot smarter, if you genuinely believed that was actually happening, would to go and buy a lot of water. That would be one of the most important things you could have. And I would suggest probably some things to cook with, a knife, and something to light fire with. They would be like some of the most important things that you could get. Toilet paper isn't even on the list. Like, yeah, but you'll have seen when these things have happened, that's one of the first things to go, which is crazy. It's absolutely insane. But if you're in those times and you've got the ability to handle your emotions, or at least express them constructively, so that you can pull yourself back to being not super angry, not super sad, not super frustrated, not super excited, but calm and centered, then you've got the opportunity to make well-balanced and well-thought-through decisions. And that can lead to getting a lot better results for you and the people around you. And that's a skill that's not taught intentionally, because if everyone could manage their emotions really, really well, no one would be able to be controlled. And that doesn't allow for the way that a lot of things that are set up around the world right now doesn't allow for a lot of them to function very well. So it's intentional that people aren't taught about that, but I believe that if everyone had techniques and tools, it's not that you're not going to feel these things. You're still going to feel angry. You're still going to feel upset. You're going to still frightened, sad, scared. You're going to be super happy at times. You're going to be like just laughing uncontrollably. You're going to have all those sorts of range of emotions. It's being able to express it constructively and bring yourself back to when you've got to make decisions, to understand what a centered, calm, controlled, well thought through decision is. And when you're at highs of either emotion, whether you're insanely happy and insanely excited, you can make some not great decisions there. Generally, they'll be better than if you're insanely angry or insanely sad, right? You can make some very, very bad decisions here. And a lot of people have. And one of the biggest causes of death over this whole period has been suicides. And the increase in suicides has been enormous, and that comes down to not understanding how to handle emotions more than any situation that's happened. Because if it was suicides because of lockdowns, then everyone would be dead. If it was suicides because of loss of jobs, then 3/4 of the population would be dead. If it was suicides because of someone in your family getting sick, then 50% at least would be dead. So it's not necessarily the specific circumstance, it's the emotion that's attached to that, and then not knowing how to deal with it. And that's just, I think if everyone knew that, first of all, this wouldn't even happen, this sort of thing that's happening around the world right now. But if it did, it would be handled and dealt with very quickly. An inability to control emotion and lack of understanding about financial education, I believe, are two of the biggest problems in the world. And they're the things that I'm passionate about. So that was a little sidetrack, but there you go. If you don't know yet, though, and you don't have to agree with me, you can think what I'm saying is absolutely boring and a complete waste of time, and that's completely fine. You don't have to know yet, especially if you're young. You don't have to know yet, because I didn't care about either of these things, and especially as deeply as I do now, until the last 12 months. I definitely didn't know when I was a kid, and in 10 years' time, they're probably going to be very different to what they are now. So you don't have to know what they are now, and they can change. It's okay to change as you go and experience new things and different things. through life, those things will change, and that's okay. That's completely normal. Get inspired by passionate young people just like you. Read the incredible story of Jessica O. Matthews on the next page. Learn how she used her knowledge in physics, kinetic energy, and motion, that's like moving energy, to create an awesome invention. All right, let's have a read. Think of all the wonderful life-saving items we use every day. Asthma medication, seatbelts, cell phones. At some point, someone realized we needed these things, even if they didn't know how to create them yet. They knew a solution existed. They kept searching until they had that light bulb moment and discovered the breakthrough solution. They studied, trained, harnessed the help of others, and worked long hours until the wheels began to turn. But all the work was worth it, as it meant something to them. You can do this too. Just look at Jessica O. Matthews. At only 22, she had founded Uncharted Play, later renamed Uncharted Power, which provides safe and substantial power to people in Africa. Her light bulb moment came while at her aunt's wedding in Nigeria. The power cut out and had to be restarted using diesel generators. Neither a safe nor a practical solution. There had to be another way, and Jessica found it. She thought of a renewable energy soccer ball which charges up as users play. She called this ball Socket, and this was her very first product. The mechanism inside the socket captures the kinetic energy generated during normal play and stores it in the ball for later use as a power source. That's so clever. Now, Jessica's company has a series of incredible products which turn everyday motion into sources of power, such as energy harnessing shopping carts and walkways. I always wanted to make really cool, meaningful things. Those are Jessica's own relatable words. Cool, meaningful things. That's what life is about, isn't it? Making the world a better, more meaningful place for those around us. Decide what would make your world better. Find the solution, call on your skills, and create the change. That's really cool. I want to go and check out her company. Good story. So brainstorm some things. And I think one of the things with this is a lot of people can get stuck on, who am I to do this? How, whatever the changes, especially if you're looking on a world scale, you can often look at who you are or where you are right now, and you judge your potential based on your past, because where you are now in your life is a result of what's happened in your past. It's not a result of what could happen or what could become. Because believe me, when you set some intentions and you work hard towards it, you can change your life in ways that you could only dream of. If you're consistent, your past does not equal your future. So if you're thinking that, this goal's too big or trying to change the world is too much, then I encourage you to go and read some biographies of very successful people. Go and read stories about, whether you like him or not. You probably don't know anything about the guy really, just other than what you've heard on TV. But Donald Trump, go and read some of his books. They are phenomenal. Some of the things that he went through, how he handled them, very, very impressive. Go and read something on some former presidents, very, very good books. Benjamin Franklin, I think, has got a great one. Oprah Winfrey has an amazing biography, and she went through some incredibly crazy things as a child. Sexually abused by her family from the age of 9 by uncles, and then told by her own family that she was a liar, and pregnant at 13, insane things. And for Oprah to become, man, and as a black woman in that era, insane what that lady achieved. So I think Elon Musk has got some great stories as well. If you go and read about these people, knowing that they've done these things helps you generate some sort of belief, and that can be really powerful when you're looking at doing things on a bigger scale. So I'd encourage you to do that. if you're questioning yourself. If you're just like, nah, screw it, I'm just going to do it. Cool, go do it. You don't need to read the stories. But if you do need a little bit of help, some very powerful biographies can be a really good thing. Jim Quick is another really good one, because there's a lot of people that have become amazingly successful with injuries or brain injuries or learning difficulties or whatever people want to call it. But some of the most successful people in the world are people that were told they could never make it or they were never going to be any good. So if anyone's ever said that to you, just understand that the actual choice of whether or not that's true comes down to you. It doesn't come down to another person. I'll leave it there. Go write some things down about some ideas. If you've got some things you'd like to change or changes that you'd like to see, it's a good exercise to do. All these up here, these are some of my goals and some of the things that I want to change and the things that I want to do with my life. So these are 12-month ones. I've got longer ones for 10 years, 20 years, and just writing down, having those visions, they're very, very powerful. So I'd encourage you to do it. All right, I'll leave it there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.